Maisie joined the Zoom. Soon.
And she has soccer practice too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She has something else that she has to do right now, but she was trying to hurry home so that she could
She can join.
get on this one, on the.
Okay, I'm gonna call this meeting to order at 3:23. And do I start off with a roll call?
Yes, please.
Okay. Cooper Ahern,
Here.
Annika,
Here.
Indigo,
Here.
Caitlin,
Here.
Kayla,
Here.
Eleni,
Here.
River,
Yeah.
Maisie, not here. Are we missing anyone else?
So is it just Maisie who's not here?
I think so.
All right, thank you, Mayor. First items of minutes from the last meeting. Do you guys have had a chance to read through that?
Yes.
You guys remember what's needed?
Yeah.
Second, do I second that? Or
So
You make
first,
the
someone
motion.
needs to make
Okay.
make a motion. No good. Need to make a motion to approve, and then someone will second, and then we do a roll call vote. So it looks like River wants to make it.
I would love to make a motion to approve the minutes
I
of our
second.
last meeting.
I will second the motion.
Anna Cooper beat you to that. But Mayor, why don't you do another roll call on the motion to approve the minutes, please?
Okay, Cooper,
Aye.
Kayla,
Aye.
Maisie.
Oh.
Oh, Maisie's not here. Sorry, Annika,
Aye.
Indigo,
Aye.
River,
Aye.
Eleni,
Aye.
and Caitlin.
Aye.
Okay, great. So that was the minutes. I think we'll go, we'll have Shane Schmaltz, the town marshal, come up here and do a presentation to you all about how the marshal's office works here in the town of Ridgway. We also have Miss Elaine Wood. She serves as the victim services advocate for the victim services program here in town. And she'll talk a little bit about what that program is all about, how it's a joint effort between not only the town, but the city of Ouray and Ouray County too. There's more to it than that, but I'll turn it over to Shane. He'll probably talk for 20 minutes, give or take. We want to leave plenty of time for you all to ask questions. You guys might have plenty of questions about how how the marshal's office works and just general law enforcement questions. And then we'll move on to other items in the agenda. That sound good?
Yeah.
Cool.
Hi, everyone.
Um,
Like Preston said, I'm Shane Schmaltz, town marshal. I've been in that role for about 3 years. Been in law enforcement almost 30 years. So been several different agencies, been 13 years here in Ouray County in law enforcement. So just to kind of give you an idea how the marshal's office works. We're the law enforcement for the town of Ridgway, which is whatever encompasses the boundaries of the town of Ridgway. And there's 3 of us full-time. So there's me and 2 deputy marshals. And then we have a part-time officer that works weekend shifts for us. We're expanding that this year. We're going to a 4th full-time deputy position, and then we'll still have the part-time officer sometimes. So about, I think the town's about 1,000 people, a little over now with the latest census I haven't seen. But so we cover all that. We also assist the other two law enforcement agencies in the county. So that would be the Ridgway Police Department and the Ridgway County Sheriff's Office. In total, there's about 15 officers in the county in law enforcement that actually patrol and handle cases and that kind of stuff. So we're charged with anything that happens within the town of Ridgway. And then we would back up at the other agencies with their things, or they can, some of the calls can incorporate multiple jurisdictions. We have the two schools here in Ridgway. At one point in time, we were in there. We like to go in every day, do that. When COVID came, we kind of backed out of that. But so say a person has some kind of legal or a criminal episode going on in Ridgway. They can report it different ways. They could call directly to dispatch. They could call the office here, which usually doesn't work real well because there's usually only one officer on at a time in town. So they might get a delayed response. So the best thing is call dispatch, or if it's an emergency, call 911. Then we would be dispatched, however many officers it requires, depending on the severity of it. If it was like, say a domestic violence call or something like that, we might bring more than one officer, just depending on what the circumstances are. So we would respond, take all the information down, and then determine two kind of jurisdictionally where it happened. Some of them, like some of the fraud cases where somebody would have a, like somebody got their credit card information and are using their credit card. It could entail a lot of jurisdictions, or it could have started, they used the card at Mountain Market and then used it all over. Then that would encompass a whole lot of jurisdictions, or we would do the investigation. So as part of that, and she'll be on in a little bit, it's Lane Wood. Under the state and under federal, there's a law called Victims' Rights Act. And there's certain crimes that fall under that, and there's a whole list of crimes that fall under that. And those people get victims' rights that fall under those statutes. And Elaine will go a little bit more into kind of what she responds to and that kind of stuff. So we might, if depending on what it is, we might bring in the victims' rights coordinator or victims' right advocate, and they would help the people get through filling out paperwork, that kind of stuff, while we're investigating the crime. If it warrants an arrest, then we would take them to Montrose County Jail, where they'd be held and then have to bond out depending on the type of crime that it was. We also do a whole, we do civil standbys. Like if people can't get along, we would go out and make sure the peace is kept. We do all kinds of community outreach things. Like when there's events going on in the park, we'll be out meeting people. So our job, and we like to space a lot of our work in community-oriented policing, which is where we're out in the community working with citizens and people in the community, either in education or in also helping with events, just so people get to know us, get to know, kind of the different crimes and the different things that we see in the area. We fortunately don't have a lot of major crimes in the area, but we do get things that are severe, like the domestic violences. We have a lot of theft, that kind of stuff that goes on in the community. So we kind of cover everything with a small amount of people. We try and respond as quickly as possible. Sometimes there's a little bit of a delay, but we try and get there as soon as we can and help people as much as we can get through a bad situation. Anybody have any questions about?
Anyone ever been on a ride along?
No.
Never ridden along with a police officer before?
No.
They want to check it out. It's fun sometimes. Maybe not all the time, depending on what happens.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's always an option if you guys are ever interested. So keep that in mind. You want to introduce Elaine,
Sure.
please?
So we have, like I mentioned earlier, we have Elaine Wood. She's our victim services program director. She does all the victim services for all 3 agencies in the county. And that entails, well, she'll explain what it entails, but she just, helps victims get through paperwork with finding different resources for them depending on what happens. So I'll let Elaine take over and kind of explain what's going on. And then if you have any more questions for me or her, we'll be here to see what we can do about answering.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Elaine, and like Shane said, we started the victim advocacy program back in 2018 with a grant, which was awesome because victims need to have some support and some resources. And we deal with mostly the victims of an actual crime, like what Marshall Shane was saying about. But we also occasionally will roll on like suicide, unattended deaths, or just deaths that just happen out of the blue, just as a courtesy, just to kind of offer some services for people. And that can be as simple as providing funeral services for them or therapy services for victims of an actual crime. We want to be there to support them with financial support and with medical support, depending on, exactly what the case pertains. And this is all Ridgway County. So I work with the marshal's office there in Ridgway. I work with the police department in Ridgway and also the sheriff's department in Ridgway as well. And they all 3 are really good support. A lot of times when I'm on a scene, I can be assisting with the victim while they're actually doing their investigating part of whatever the crime may be, whether it's domestic violence or, a roadside death, whatever it might be. A lot of times just having somebody there to sit with the victim and talk to them, be there, make calls for them, providing them with information and resources to assist them with makes a big difference for them. I'm not sure what else I need to tell you. Do you have questions about this?
No.
Okay. Well, some of the crimes, that are happening recently are, like child abuse, whether it's sexually or physical, sexual abuse, the same in adults. We have a lot of domestic violence disputes where I come in there and help the victim, whether it's the male or the female, to try to just help them navigate through what's going to happen. The judicial system is sometimes really confusing. So once the case actually gets turned over to the DA's office, then they also have their own specialists that come alongside and help the victims kind of navigate through the court system. When it's something that you don't anticipate happening, it's really confusing. And so we just try to make a soft handoff so that I can let them know that district attorney office is going to carry on their case. If they have any questions, who to contact. If they have trouble contacting somebody that they need to contact, I always tell them to get a hold of me, and I'll kind of be the go-between person to try to help them as well. Navigate whatever I can to help them get through the situation.
Thanks, Elaine.
You're welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you very much for being here. Any questions for Elaine, the victim services about the victim services program or for Marshall about anything law enforcement related. You all are in a really unique position here, being on the Youth Advisory Council and almost a bridge between town government, law enforcement, and the rest of your peers at the rest of the school district. So I'm sure you guys have some questions.
I do.
Sure.
So I know that as teenagers, we're just learning how to drive and stuff. So most of us are kind of like weary and scared of police officers. But since we're kind of advocates for the rest of our school and our age group, is there any way we could make communicating with law enforcement officers less intimidating?
Well, I think, all of us make mistakes and the thing is just to be honest about, what was going on. And that helps kind of bridge that. Also, explain to them, if you're having a bad day, everybody has bad days, and if you're unfortunate and maybe you're speeding a little bit, if you just sit down or, talk to them and tell them, what's going on, it helps understand, maybe, trouble at home with, parents not understanding where you're at or, things like that, or at school, you had a bad day, maybe didn't do so well on the test, we've all been there. We've all done that, in law enforcement and just in life. And so, be honest when you do, communicate clearly, don't make one thing, don't make real harsh moves or don't be argumentative about that, because it builds a bad rapport. If you just go, yeah, I didn't see that stop sign, sorry, when I got this going on, I got that going on. That helps kind of, because we've all been there when we understand, and me and the two other deputies or the three other deputies, we kind of look at it and go, we'd rather educate people than, and especially like kids, I like helping them out the first time, saying, okay, you made a mistake, unless it's something drastic, 100 miles an hour on the highway or something, requires immediate action. But, if it's just a few miles an hour over the speed limit and you get stopped, education, say, hey, this isn't good. A lot of people get injured and killed in these kind of situations, or, maybe we should watch what we're doing, that kind of stuff. And that helps too, and then usually I always have a policy in all my 30 years is, I'll let you have one unless, like I said, it's something major, but the next one, we're going to have a little more of a communication about, not to say that, across the board, the second one, you're going to get a ticket or you're going to get some kind of penalty. But, there's those situations where, and also being a parent, I know insurance rates go up, all that kind of stuff goes up in those kind of situations. So I like to work with, and try and resolve the situation in the best way possible for everybody.
Yeah, that helps a lot. Thank you.
So who's been pulled over before?
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
I also have one time.
Okay, Anna's been pulled over. Yeah, it doesn't, from a personal standpoint, it doesn't matter what, and great response. Doesn't matter what you say, it's still going to be intimidating being approached by a police officer for doing something wrong, right? So it's never going to feel good. I don't care what anyone says, but that's helpful to know. It would have been nice when I was 16, 17, 18 years old to have, a law enforcement official say something like that to me shortly before I was pulled over for the first time when I was 19 years old, because I was shaking in my boots when that happened. So what I took away from that is always be upfront and truthful. I think that goes a long way. I know there's more to it on the theme that you were talking about, but I hope you guys listen to that, because that could certainly go a long way in life.
Preston, and Shane, do you guys go into the school even deputies?
We try to, now that, kind of things are lifting up, we're going to get back into schools.
I think it really helped
That's-
you guys.
That's been a goal, is to have, officers walking around the schools, talking to people. That kind of builds relationships too, and helps, kind of ease that tension.
Yeah, maybe even have a assembly room. And kids get together and explain, you just explained to everybody in school.
Yeah. The things something like that would be neat, and I'll get with the administration, at least at the secondary school, and see if we can't get something like that set up. The other thing too, that I'd like you guys to take back is we need to, there's a lot of times kids and adults in certain situations feel like they have no voice or they have no response, like sexual assault cases. People feel like, maybe whatever the circumstances were, they have no voice in what happens to them and what happens in that. We like to make sure, with Elaine, that, you can always reach out to her and she can direct you in whoever's involved can reach out to her or to us and say, we like that open line of communication. Or if you have a friend that's going through really hard times, with things, don't look at it as negative that you're like ratting them out or telling them, hey, because sometimes it's really hard to make that communication and to, take that step because they feel whatever, like whatever happened to them, maybe they were a part of it happening to them or whatever. So, we like that open line of communication. And that's one good thing about going into the schools too, is, people feel more comfortable with a face that they kind of recognize. And it's kind of the SRO program. In bigger jurisdictions, we just don't have the people to do it, but we try and get more in there and that kind of stuff. So, if you can go back and tell your friends and people, don't be afraid to let us know things are going on, because that's the best way to help circumvent it. Even somebody that's got, maybe they're thinking about doing something serious at school, and that communication is always good. It doesn't always mean they're going to get, blasted in trouble and go down, but, we might be able to prevent something from happening just by a communication of saying, hey, this is what's going on. He's having trouble. They're having trouble at home. They're having this, they're having that, and we have services available. Or one of us may be able to just kind of sit with them and go, what's going on? We're not always the bad guys, or we're not always there after things happen. We like to be there before to prevent them to happen. So, feel free to tell people to come by the office and just sit down. Or if you guys are having issues, our door's always open, or when somebody's here, and we're willing to sit there and maybe see if we can work out something to help them. So,
Thanks, Shane. What other questions you all have?
I was gonna say, what made you want to join the justice system?
Mine was kind of a weird case. I'd been in a couple of serious events where we were actually shot at. I was in emergency medicine and on the fire department, and a couple incidents. So I kind of joined up because I wanted to be able to, if I needed to do something back versus, but I've also, wanted to help people. And I've always figured all through my career, if I can go there and take the worst situation that somebody's had and try and make it a little bit better, or even to where it's acceptable to help them get through it at that time, then I've done my job.
I was just gonna ask, kind of, what is like a typical day at work for you? Like, what would just be like a regular
well,
day?
Mine's kind of different there too, because I do a lot of administrative stuff. So, but I always like come in the mornings to try and drive the school zones. Especially with the highway going through the crosswalk up there and everything. Try to be there every morning and just patrol town, just drive around all the streets in town, or most all the streets, and see what's going on, see if anything happened, if there's anything, kind of going on in town. And then I'd come back to the office, maybe do some patrols throughout the day for traffic on Sherman Street, traffic on the highway, that kind of stuff. And then we have our shifts are early morning to about midnight. We cover, and so then when the other officer comes on in the afternoon, we might do projects if we have concerns over traffic on the highway, or on Sherman Street speeding. We had a little girl who was almost run over by a car that passed school bus lights 2 weeks ago. So we concentrate in the subdivision where that happened about the time school gets out, just, and like I said, we like to educate people, as a younger driver, wasn't really paying some attention, and I guess thought they could blast through the lights and it was okay. So we'll work those kind of things, if we have special projects, that kind of stuff. A lot of ours is training. We have to do 24 hours of training a year. We try and do close to a minimum of 50 hours a year, just to keep our skills up, that kind of stuff. So a lot of like our Wednesdays are training days. So we're all here. We all work on different types of training because we have to do driving and firearms and arrest control and everything on a yearly basis. We're required to have so many hours of each of those.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Anyone online? There's nothing else. Shane, thank you. Elaine, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is, let's see, next item is an update on the community suggestion boxes. I haven't heard from anybody about what the status is on those being made and actually getting set out. Has anyone been working with the shop teacher on that?
Anna and Maisie, I know, are the ones kind of taking the lead on
Taking the
that.
lead on it?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
So I talked to Mr. Johnson, the shop teacher, and he said that he made them and he's gonna add a spot to put like 3x5 note cards and a spot to put pencils and pens. And then he wanted me to ask if we wanted locks on them, which I'm guessing we do.
Yeah, I think that's probably safe.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
Okay, so I'll just email him back and tell him we want locks, and then they should be done very soon.
Great. Well, we'll stay tuned for that. I'll reach out to Mr. Johnson too. I know him, see if we can get them soon. And then perhaps once they're set out, we can start really communicating to folks that they're out, what they're really meant for. And hopefully by the time the next meeting rolls around, your next meeting in April, there'll be some note cards in there with some suggestions on items of interest for some of your peers or residents around town.
I could probably make the online survey version of it to send out with our blog and email and stuff.
That sounds great. That sounds great. Like,
We can put it in our school email too.
yeah.
Have Jen put it in her
Okay.
email. When they are ready, is that going to be kind of something that like our group at some point should go and get put around? You think
Explain more.
Are we sorry that made it sense, but like are we in charge of then getting the boxes put into their place?
This is your project, so yes, I'd love for you guys to take ownership and when they're ready, actually get them arranged wherever you would like. Well, first of all, wherever you'd like. I think from what I recall last time, the thought was to set one at your your school. And then maybe one here at Town Hall. That doesn't have to be the way it is, but I think you get a lot of traffic in here at Town Hall, for what it's worth.
Yeah.
It would be great to see some initiative in getting those, put in place. I'm here to help, but this is y'all's baby. Does that make sense?
I kind of had just a quick thought to kind of advertise it. But I think personally, if I were to see a suggestion box like randomly throughout the school, I wouldn't know like what it's for or what I should put in it. So I was almost thinking like we could make a poster or something with kind of ideas of along the lines of what we're kind of looking for. And then we could also put the QR code, make a QR code to the online version too, kind of on that. So then it's easier to find almost. Just a thought.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe like a little poster thing in front of the school. I think probably, I feel like the one that we'll put here is probably a little bit more adult based and they might just kind of know what they're doing more than students. So I think, but yeah, definitely giving students like a little help through like.
How big
posters.
are they?
I have no.
We
I
could
haven't
put on
seen-
like the side of it or
Yeah.
something, depending on how big it is.
Yeah, we could just kind of decide that later, but I think that's a good idea to get a poster out.
Yeah. And then we just have a place to put the like a QR code or something to the online version too. So that one's accessible more.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. It'd be helpful for folks, like you said, or whoever said it. What is this thing? The poster kind of laying out what it's intended for and what will come of the stuff that they actually put in the box, I think will be helpful. So the QR code's a really neat idea too, but a poster really identifying or making clear why it's there and what it's going to be used for would be huge. So it sounds like someone will be making some posters. So that's awesome. I'll definitely help. Okay, anything else on this? No? Okay. The next item is, I'm watching the time, you have to leave a few minutes, right? So I know some of you have practice too, so want to talk about a presentation to the town council, either in April or May or June. I do think the regular May council meeting would probably be the most appropriate time for you all to attend the town council meeting, hopefully in person. Hopefully COVID doesn't evolve much from where we're at now, right? It's kind of nice to be back in person and not hanging out, but the expectation is that you all come before the town council and give updates on what you guys have been doing. Who the guest speakers are, what some of the major takeaways have been, what some of your focuses or projects have been. I know there's not a whole lot there. We're working on the community suggestion boxes, but hopefully by that time you'll be able to talk to that a little bit more. So anyway, I'm just thinking out loud, but you all will want to get together and really frame how you want to how to portray to the town council that your time on the youth council was worthwhile. You spent a lot of time learning and getting a better understanding of how things work, the inner workings of specifically local government. But we've had some folks come in here to talk about what they do and why they do it, and we're going to keep doing that. So hopefully you guys think that's worthwhile. But me rambling, but I do think May would be the most appropriate month to do that. But I want to leave it to you all to pinpoint when you guys will be ready to go to the town council.
Yeah, I think May would be probably good because I know like June is probably a little harder. Some of us are going on a school trip.
Oh yeah,
that's true. And then also that gets into like summer, so I know a lot of people are gone or working. So we'll probably have the suggestion boxes done and working by then. Yeah, definitely.
Great. So just for you all to mark your calendars, May 11th is the regular town council meeting. It would start at 5:30, and we would have you all there relatively early in the agenda to come before the council and give your spiel. So that's a Wednesday, May 11th.
May.
Sorry.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, May. So just FYI. Any other thoughts on that? No.
Cooper, do you know when our rafting trip is? Is it the 14th that we leave?
Ooh, that's a good question. That does sound right. Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so I'll like double check on that, but I think me and Cooper will be here.
No, it's earlier than that, I think, because it's the day of the job fair that we're
Is
having.
it?
That's when you guys leave.
I can maybe.
Yeah, is
check.
it before or after prom?
Because prom is the 7th.
I don't know if Rouse sent an email or.
Well, do me a favor and just check on that. Maybe next month when we meet, we can really say, yeah, that'll work or that won't work, and we'll have to figure out an alternative, right? So, but yeah, if you don't mind checking on that, that'd be great. Before some of you have to head out, want to highlight the town cleanup event that will be happening in late April. I'll let Mayor Clark actually talk about that event. It's actually really cool.
Yeah. Get anywhere from 3 to 4 or 5. Typically, it's been 3 or 4 giant roll-off dumpsters. Bring them out to the parking lot by the soccer field and allow the town to just bring their cleanup stuff. Doing it for years and usually runs from like 8 to 1 or 2. Oftentimes in recent years, it's been in coordination with Alpine Bank doing waste recycling events. So yeah, it's been really helpful. I think it's actually last couple of years there's been less stuff coming because they've been doing it long enough for people who've got their yards cleaned up. But there's always more.
And this is just only organic material.
No, it's
And
there's small limit, like you can't take appliances, you can't take tires.
There's some restrictions.
There's a few things, but we'll take, and we've said in the past that we don't want to take like giant couches.
Yeah.
Mattresses and stuff, but for the most part, we take it.
right. Okay.
So anything and everything, folks show up with everything on trailers, and Mayor Clark's out there for, like you said, 8 till 1, helping people unload their stuff. And I've been out there the last couple of years. We have some public works folks out there. But if you all are interested, it would be great to have you guys out there volunteering and at the very least helping spread the word that this is a pretty cool service provided by the town to just load up your car, go over to the athletic fields, or last year it was over behind the library. That's probably what we'll do again. Don't know though. And take your stuff and throw it in a huge dumpster. And I haven't seen anything like that really in the other communities I work for, so it's kind of cool. Usually you have to pay a good chunk of change to actually get rid of some of the stuff that folks bring. Like you said, we don't take e-waste or anything. That's where it gets really expensive, but you guys can help spread the word on that. That's huge. We don't have a date yet. I just want to get it on your radar. If you have any interest in maybe just spending an hour, 2 hours, just helping out some people unload their cars and get them in the dumpster, it's cool. And we can certainly provide some refreshments, food, and drinks to make it worthwhile. So wanted to mention that, and I'll let John talk about the Adopt a Highway cleanup event, which hasn't been arranged yet, but it's a newer initiative that we'll be starting with our first cleanup here soon. We just have to get it organized.
Yeah, you guys have probably seen signs along the highways. This section of the highway adopted by blah, blah, blah. I spent the last probably 1.5 years trying to find a nearby stretch of highway that was available. When it finally fell together, it was actually mile 18 to 20, I believe, or maybe 20 to
20 to 22.
20 to 22, which is literally right outside of town, just west of Ridgway. So Ridgway Town Council will be the official adopted entity for that stretch, which means we have to go out and clean up the sides of the highway quarterly.
Twice a year. Twice a year is the report.
Okay. And to do that, you have to watch some videos about safety and the kinds of trash you might come across. Unfortunately, apparently there's a what's in common is meth lab stuff that people have thrown out in the car because they're trying to avoid police, I imagine. So a couple of videos to watch, and then basically this, the highway department provides us with orange vests and trash bags, and we'll find it Saturday or Sunday sometime to go out and do that. When I talked to council about it this last meeting, I threw out the idea of maybe the town cleanup is usually a Saturday, like the second or third Saturday in April, and maybe we could, if the weather's good, we could choose the next Sunday, the following Sunday to do the first time. So again, something for you guys to think about helping out with if you want. Like I say, it's a 2-mile stretch that you have to pick up trash on both sides of the highway, but it usually shouldn't take more than, depending on how many people we have, it shouldn't take more than a few hours.
So like you said, it hasn't been scheduled yet, but it's another really cool opportunity for you all to maybe lend a helping hand for a couple hours at least. And honestly, that one may be the more appropriate opportunity to jump in and pick up trash along the highway. When I think of it, I think of it as a more standard volunteer type opportunity, but that's just me. So anyway, food for thought. We'll let you guys know at next month's meeting what those dates will be for those events. Sound good?
Yeah.
Wanted to see if you guys had any questions or thoughts about Jerry L's presentation last month on West Slope Youth Voice. I'm also wondering if any of you had any interest or actually followed up with her more on participating in that program.
I'm pretty sure Maisie was interested. I don't think she's still here.
I think Maisie and Eleni were trying to go. I know they were talking about it. I'm not sure if they're doing it still or not, but
No, and not crucial or mandatory by any means. I just wanted to make sure you all have what you need to make the contact with Jerry L. Or the information you need to further explore whether or not it's a good fit for you, given your schedules. I know you all have a lot going on. I think most of you being in your senior year, and it's March, it's kind of crazy, right? So let me know if you have any questions or need any information, but it was good to have Jerry L on last month and really walking you through what the really cool things they do to make sure that youth voices are heard and represented, especially at the state legislature. So anything else there? All right. Do we have a volunteer to write the meeting recap and post to the youth council site?
I'll write you this one.
You'll do it? Okay. Who did the last one?
Eleni?
Eleni did.
Yeah, I think so.
And who did the?
Oh wait, Eleni might have done
Maisie
the
did the
first.
first one.
Oh, Maisie did it. But either way,
Either way, Maisie and Eleni have both done it.
yeah.
Like you got the.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Everyone say thank you.
Thanks, Caitlin.
Next, I think the last item is just pinpointing the next meeting. I think we did a good job trying to motor through this, given that some of y'all have soccer practice, but the next meeting at Monday, April 11th at 3:45. Does anyone know? Looks like there's 4, 5, 6, 7 of you here now.
I know the soccer girls have a game on the 12th, so Eleni was saying that might not work.
So the 11th may not work
Yeah,
because of the game the next day.
yeah, because you gotta go to practice the day before.
You have to be at the practice, I imagine.
I don't know how we-
Yeah, the coaches have been getting mad at us for not being at practices for things. So they want us there the day before a game.
Good to know. Does anybody have any ideas for an alternative time? I mean, I know this is like right after school. I know it may not be desirable to meet like later, kind of in the evening hours, like 5:30, but or just a different day in the week.
It's annoying because it's every
About
day.
Wednesday.
Wednesday would maybe work. Indigo, do you think Wednesday would be fine that week?
Should probably do it.
I think Wednesday would be good because we have a game Friday, but I think Wednesday would work better.
So that'd be, so like Wednesday, the 13th of April. Now, what time school get out?
3:10.
3:10. So you guys have to like
Yeah, we
speed
can't
over there.
really-
Sorry about that.
It's good.
I guess, I don't even know what my question is, but just 3:20 too soon to do it? I mean, should we stick with 3:45? Do you guys want to go later in the evening after soccer practice?
I don't know, I feel like 3:20 is fine.
Yeah, 3:20.
Yeah, because
Sorry,
soccer runs
3:20.
at like 3:25.
So that would be mine.
We always do Saturday.
Oh, maybe Sunday.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Because we're busy.
So it sounds like maybe we'll try or start with April 13th, which is a Wednesday, and do it 3:20.
Yeah.
And I'm planning to reach out to Jake Neese. He's Ray County Commissioner, relatively new, I think just a year and a half ago, I think he was. So, and if the schedule allows in April, we'll have him hopefully come in person and kind of talk to you about what that's all about, and what his experience has been. Does that sound cool? You guys want to hear from like a firefighter or astronaut?
Oh, astronaut. Oh, we did.
We did
we
hear.
Just did
Yeah.
hear from an astronaut.
Did you?
Yeah, would be good.
Yeah, that's cool. Really cool.
I'll shoot you the invite next time, so I can. Anything else? Anything else you guys want to talk about? Questions about? Anything we didn't cover here? Nothing?
Thanks.
Well. Cooper, looks like you get to bang again. And adjourn.
Oh, we have a gavel.
All right, so say,
But if you're gonna bang, you gotta bang it.
Twice
Yeah, you
or
gotta-
You
what?
actually do it.
just once. There's
Well,
like,
you do whatever you want.
all right, meeting adjourned.
Oh, wow.
That
That was
kind of mediocre.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Monica?